fastest.
Yep. So Twitter, if you're seeing us first, and we are live. Thanks everybody for joining us today. It is week number 3 of the Knowsy Neighbor weekly update podcast, whatever you want to call it. And we're back online to talk about all things Southeast Idaho. We're doing our weekly update, and we're going to cover today. We're going to cover some real estate updates. So Tommy's going to bring us up a little agenda here, and we're going to talk about some real estate updates. And we're going to kind of tell you what happened in real estate in the past week in Bonneville, Jefferson, and Bingham counties in Southeast Idaho. We're also going to cover kind of what area do we cover. When we talk about our area, there's a lot of really cool stuff that goes on in our area. And so we're going to update you. If you don't know, Southeast Idaho borders Montana and Wyoming. And then if you go down to Southeast Idaho, we border Utah. So we have a very, very cool corridor. And we're going to discuss some of the things that are in there, like Yellowstone National Park, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Sun Valley, Idaho, Montana. I mean, there's some really neat things in Southeast Idaho, and we're just going to cover some of the areas and some of the cool things that are around us. We're also going to talk about some real estate tips and tricks. Today, we're going to discuss on staging a home. So if you're going to go look to sell your home, how should you stage it? And is staging important? So we're going to talk about some things that I give advice to my sellers when I help them sell a home on what to do to make their house look amazing in pictures and why it's important. But not necessarily that you have to have someone who's a professional stager bring things in. You can just stage your home with the furniture you have with some really good tips and tricks. We're also going to talk about some cool things that are happening in our area coming up this week because it's a fun week. It's Memorial Day week. So that's always nice. You get that 3-day weekend, and we are so appreciative and we're grateful that we are able to remember those that have passed on before us. And it's a really fun weekend or next week in Southeast Idaho. And lastly, we're going to talk about who the Knowsy Neighbors visited this week. Every week we visit and highlight a local business in Southeast Idaho, and usually in the Idaho Falls area. That local business has to be someone who is independently owned, and they cannot be part of a franchise or cannot be corporately owned from somewhere else. The business owner must live here and be the janitor to the CEO, and we try to help them so you can find out some really cool businesses in Southeast Idaho that are run by some really cool people. So let's dive in today. And by the way, if you didn't notice, my husband Tommy's in here. He jumps in and out, and he helps me talk about things, helps me keep my pace slow, and make sure that we have a fun time discussing. He has a totally different perspective from me, and that's always fun. And by the way, if you love Southeast Idaho and you love local businesses and love our area, or you're curious about it, please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button or following our page, because we would love to give you an update every single week on things that are going on in our amazingly cool, amazingly beautiful area of the country. And that will happen every week. Also, if you go to jessica.viewidahofallshouses.com, and up at the top it says get the newsletter. I send out a month's worth of market stats on real estate, plus some tips and tricks, plus all the Knowsy Neighbors that we've done for that month in an email. So you get the little newsletter and you get the stats printed out. Some people really like to see all those data and charts, and so we actually send those out to you if you subscribe to the newsletter. So you get that every month, and I think ours just went out. Normally it's around the 15th of the month. So anyway, if you love Southeast Idaho, make sure that you subscribe and like and follow. And if you're looking to sell a home or buy a home in Southeast Idaho, relocate, or want to pick up an investment property, if you're like, I'd really like to start going to Yellowstone National Park more often, or visiting Jackson Hole, or I'd like to have an Airbnb up there, we would love to help you buy and sell in Southeast Idaho. We have been doing this for over 20 years. I am part of the Murdoch Manwaring Company team at Keller Williams Realty East Idaho, and we are passionate about real estate and making an impact in our community through real estate. So I'd love to help you sell a home or buy a home. That's why you get real estate tips and tricks from me. So let's just jump right in. What happened last week in real estate in Bonneville County, Bingham County, and Jefferson counties? So this will cover May 18th through the 25th. Just a little highlight. We had 51 closings in this past week. We had 40 the week before. So we're up in closed sales from our previous week. The highest closed sale this past week was almost $1 million, $958,550. And our lowest sale was pretty low, $49,000. So it was a pretty big sweep on, or pretty big swath on the prices on homes that closed in this past week. We got 79 new listings. So we added 79 homes to the inventory this week. It is down just a smidgen from the previous week where we had 81 new homes come on the market. And of those 79 homes, 9 are already pending, which means we've already connected a buyer and a seller together, and they've gone under contract, and they are under contract to close that sale. So when you look at that and think, how quick does real estate move? Of 79 homes, in 1 week, 9 went under contract. So it can happen really fast, and it has to do with pricing. If you look back at our last week's live, we talk a lot about how do you price your home correctly to sell, and that gets it done. Pending, which means how many homes that were on the market, a buyer and a seller got together and they went under contract and they are now a pending sale. So they're not actively being marketed on the market anymore. They are heading toward being under contract or to closing. We had 59 homes that went pending this past week. Last week, the week before, we had 51. So we're up in pendings. So if we have 79 new listings that come on the market, 51 close, and 59 go pending, that's how the market is the inventory shrinks. We want to get more new listings so that we grow in inventory or at least maintain. But we had 59 homes that went under contract. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to close. They can fall apart throughout the transaction. Maybe they went during inspection period, or there was an appraisal issue, or the buyer had some financing problems, or there was a change in situation for the buyer. So we don't know that they're going to close, but usually about 75% of homes that go pending actually get all the way to close. The high price that went under contract this week is $1.2 million. So we had a really nice home that went under contract, and our low price point was $179,500 that went under contract. Expired or withdrawn. This is how many homes came off the market that either the contract with their agent expired, which means there's a term that people go when they sign a listing agreement, it's for a certain amount of time. So if that time expires without them selling, that's an expired listing. A withdrawn listing means the seller has decided to take it off the market, which means they have decided they've waited too long. They don't want to lower the price any farther. Their situation has changed something and they're withdrawing it off the market. And that withdrawn could be temporary. Actually, an expired can too. An expired can come right back on the market if they re-sign a listing agreement with the same agent or a different agent.
Sometimes that kind of like tapping out.
I think withdrawing is a little more like tapping out than expiring. Expiring means that you've been on there and maybe you only did a 2-month listing. So maybe that contract was only for 2 months. So, and now you're
well, maybe 2 months isn't a tap out. Maybe that was part of a plan.
It could have been a test of the market.
But after a year, that's probably a tap out.
It's a little more of a tap out. Yeah. And you might get a withdrawn. You might get a withdrawn that says, listen, well, I don't want to have to lower my price any lower. So I'm withdrawing and tapping out. I think they should
distinguish it that way on the MLS.
They should call it tapping
out.
Yeah.
Withdrawing is like, okay, that's part of the plan.
Yeah. Tapping out is I'm giving up the ghost.
Out. Yeah.
It's a good idea. Mm-hmm. Well, we had 12 that tapped out or expired last week. And we had 10 the week before. So a few more. The average days on market, interestingly enough, were 120 days for those two categories. So an expired usually is 6 months to a year when they expire. But as you can see, an average of 120 days for those two categories. Our current inventory. So what's sitting on the market right now? If you wanted to buy a home or you're coming on the market to sell, and what's your competition? We've got 470 homes on the market. We are up from last week. We had 157 last week. So we're gaining a little bit of inventory.
You said 157. Did you mean 400?
400. I want to keep saying 100. Yes. Thank you for correcting that. So 457. So we've gained a little bit of inventory, gained a little bit. As we get more inventory and there's more competition for sellers, the sellers lose a little bit of their strength.
Wait, we have more inventory this week?
More inventory.
Because you said
470 currently. Last week was 457. So we have 13 more homes on the market than last week.
Kind of transpose those numbers.
That's a little bit. Yeah. Tommy may or may not have a accounting degree, but that's all right.
That doesn't mean
Here's how it breaks down. So as we break down under 300,000, there's 58 homes on the market. Their average days on market, that's what DOM is. They are on average been sitting on the market 45 days. Pretty average. And that actually, I've been in the business over 20 years. That's a really actually very good days on market. Now, our most popular price point from 300,000
Wait a
to
second.
600,000.
So when you say days on market 45 was
Average.
when we came here 12 years ago, it seemed like the average
Let's say
days
when
on
you
market,
came here.
when you imported me here.
That's right.
It wasn't, I think the days on market were north of 90.
It could have been
3 months or even 6 months.
Yeah. I probably not 6 months, but it could have been 3 months for
3
sure.
months average back then. Because that was kind of after the market had crashed a little bit.
We were on recovery.
Peak. We were in the recovery.
We were in recovery, correct.
And
6 months to 9 months was probably closer in that 2010 range to where we were on, still suffering a little bit from the crash.
And so we were late 2012. There's 2013. So it was probably, seems like it was like 90 days or like that.
Yeah, that sounds
And that's
reasonable.
about average, a healthy
market. That's a healthy market. 90 days, average days on market is
so
healthy.
We're still faster.
We are still in what we could consider a seller's market for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
45 days.
It still feels very quick.
And the reason that I bring that up is because I hear this all of the time.
Yeah.
That people hear 45 days, and just because they've sort of gotten used to the last couple of years, houses selling in 4 days.
We got down to a week of where, if it stayed on the market 2 or 3 days, it was pretty amazing. Now, days on market, when we're talking about it, where that is when it's actively on the market. So it may still have another 30 or 45 days till it gets to closing, but days on market where it's actively being marketed and available for sale.
So it's still, that 45 is good.
Very good.
Pretty short.
Yep, pretty short. Our bulk of our business in Southeast Idaho is done in the $300,000 to $600,000 price range. And we have 279 homes on the market right now in that price range, which is great. The average days on market in that price range is 55. So pretty healthy in that, that kind of when you're looking at the bell curve, that's the top, the biggest part of the bell. Now, $600,000 to $1 million price range, there's 82 homes on the market. That's still that's a lot. That's a lot in that price range compared to the fact that under 300,000 is only 58 homes.
But the average days on market is only 75.
Is 75.
So my question is, we have 75 right now. Where were we recently? In other words, did we just have a bunch come on the market, and that's why the days on market is so low?
It could. It very well. That's a really good way to think about it.
They didn't have as many on the market. Now a bunch have come on.
Because we are entering that spring selling market.
Yeah.
Yes. So there could be some new homes in that 600 to 1 million range that brings the average days on market down if we had some new ones in the past 3 or 4 weeks. So yes, absolutely, that could be. Because there could be some definitely lingering in. You definitely are going to see that linger in the 1 million and above market. So 1 million above, we've still got 52 homes out there. 51 homes out on the market in $1 million plus, all the way up to, I think we've got a $3 million right there. And their average days on market is 71. There actually is one that's been out there for about 1,000 days. And when I left it in there, it took us up to like 100 days on market. But I brought that back out. And so 71 is more accurate. So this is what's happening this past week in real estate. If you have any questions about that, or you want to know how that affects you personally, if you're thinking of selling or buying, please give me a call or drop me a message on any of my socials, and I'll be happy to chat with you about it. And we'd love to help you do that and help you even if you're just making a plan for down the road. Okay, let's get into some cool parts of what we're talking about. We want to talk a little bit about our area. So Southeast Idaho, I think, is a unique place because it is such a large area. And what does that encompass? So I thought we'd talk a little bit about where we're talking about. Whenever we talk about our area, where does it talk about? So Tommy, why don't you bring us up that map? Now I created a little map in Google Maps, and the links are down in the description below if you're interested in that. And the map kind of shows you a little bit of what our area encompasses and what's close to us and where we kind of cover. So right here where Tommy's brought up, right here is Idaho Falls. So right there, smack dab in the middle of this map is Idaho Falls. It is the third largest city in Idaho. Right here on the river, as you can see the picture on the left, we have a beautiful, beautiful river. And we are actually, I think, if we aren't the only one, we're close. We are a carbon-free city, which is really neat. Our water,
the rivers giving us our power.
Our power, exactly right. We get all of our power is carbon-free. So that picture of those falls in Idaho Falls, there are giant turbines under the river that generate power, which is very, very cool for Idaho. Very, very cool.
We actually took a tour of that, of Idaho Falls power.
We did.
And went down and got to take a look at the turbines.
Yeah, the turbine underneath the river. Yeah.
During COVID.
Yep. During COVID, the Mayor Casper, had us come and show some cool things to give people in our area something fun to watch. And we did go and look at the turbine under the river, and it's very neat. And we're very high-techy. So very cool place in Idaho Falls. And right on the river, there's a green belt. There's a lot of really cool things around the river in Idaho Falls. It's a really fun place to visit or move to, because we love it here. All right, so let's take a look at this map and to give you an idea of how to orient yourself about our area. What you've got right there in the center is Idaho Falls. If you look there to the left, you're going to find Sun Valley. So Sun Valley is really well known for its amazing ski resort. And if you didn't know, Sun Valley was the first official ski resort in the United States. If you didn't know, Sun Valley was the first ski resort in the United States.
What year was that? Do you know?
I don't. You shouldn't ask me those things. I don't know how far that is, but I think it's some way back in the 20s or something like that, or 1900s. I don't know. But Sun Valley, yeah, very interesting. And Sun Valley is about 2.5 hours from us. About 2.5 hours from us, and you get right over into Sun Valley and the Haley area. Now, if you go south from Idaho Falls, right down I-15, that gets us to Salt Lake City. So we're about 3.5 hours to get down south into Salt Lake City. The reason that's important to us is there's a major airport. Flying into Idaho Falls can be sometimes a little bit difficult. We have a really nice airport, and we are getting more flights all the time, but we don't have a significant amount of flights and a significant amount of airlines that come in and out of Idaho Falls. So a lot of people just fly right into Salt Lake, which of course, again, a great skiing area, a great area for a lot of recreation. And then they just take the easy drive up I-15 about 3 hours.
I-15 road. By the way, the link for this, if you want to actually pull up this map and look at it, the link for this is in the description.
Yep. So it's an easy, beautiful drive right up I-15. Yep. And interesting also that a lot of people don't realize the interstates out here are 80 miles an hour. That's our speed limits, which is unique because some places are a lot lower than us. And so we get to drive pretty fast on our interstates. So if that takes us we're really close down to the Salt Lake area. And then if you come back out and go up north about 3 hours, if you have gotten, had your appetite whet for the Western life from Yellowstone, the TV series Yellowstone, that from season 4 on is filmed just outside of Missoula.
All this forest around there.
Yes. Missoula, Montana is one of the most beautiful places in the West. It is just gorgeous, gorgeous. And that is just 3 hours north of us. A really easy drive up the interstate to get to Missoula, Montana. And so if you have a hankering for getting your Yellowstone on, that is where it's filmed, is up there in Missoula, Montana. So let's get in a little closer so you can see how far and in our area, a couple of 3 hours is an easy drive for us. That isn't like everywhere else, but 3 hours everywhere.
It's 4.5.
Oh, 4.5 hours to Missoula.
So it's a little bit longer. So Salt Lake's a little bit closer.
Yep. But beautiful.
Salt Lake's a little bit closer than Missoula, and then Sun Valley's about 3. So Sun Valley and that's annoying with those popping up.
Yeah.
Sun Valley and Salt Lake are more or less the same.
Yeah.
Distance.
And there's such an easy drive. Once you get here, you're not driving on boring scenery. It's really beautiful.
Well, the Sun Valley drive is not great.
Well, it's a high desert, so you can get out there, but you look at some of the Sawtooth Mountains, it's really pretty.
In some places.
Yeah. So let's zoom in. Let's get a little closer to Idaho Falls, and let's get into kind of what is our daily area. So again, we're going to look at Idaho Falls is in that lower left-hand corner. Go down, bring down the map down a little bit. Down, bring it down. There you go. Okay. So now let's kind of work our way out. How far are we away from really cool places to visit in our area? So if you head a little bit west, you're going to go out to what's called Swan Valley. And Swan Valley is just like 30 minutes from Idaho Falls. And it is phenomenally beautiful. There's a giant reservoir called Palisades Reservoir. It's right on the Snake River. And it's actually the South Fork of the Snake River. And this is world famous fly fishing. In fact, another cool fact, Jimmy Kimmel a couple years ago bought a really neat fishing lodge that can be visited, a public fishing lodge right outside of Swan Valley, Idaho. And it is just as beautiful as can be up there in Swan Valley. Little teeny town, but really just really gorgeous. So that's 30 minutes. Now, as you look at this and take yourself over, there's kind of 2 ways to go. You can go south and go right up by the reservoir, or you can take that little road across and we get over into Driggs, which is in Teton Valley. Teton Valley is right below the Grand
So
Tetons.
you're talking about this road
Yes.
right here across. Yep.
There's a little road right across. We call that Piney Pass. And
that's where you go over the mountain.
You go over the mountain. If that's closed, you can go down south and come back around. But that's an easy drive. Also, if you look up toward the top of the map, you can go from Idaho Falls up north and across. Those are the two ways you get over into Teton Valley. Teton Valley is unbelievably gorgeous.
So here's Idaho Falls.
Idaho Falls, if you go north,
yep, north,
up to Sugar City and across, that comes right there and takes you into Driggs, or
you can go through Swan Valley.
Exactly right. Those are the two ways you can get into Teton Valley. And I'm from Teton Valley. I grew up in Tetonia, graduated from the high school in Driggs. It's this beautiful little town way up in the mountains. We get a lot of snow. I think it's almost 7,000 feet in elevation, but it is a beautiful place right below the Grand Teton Mountains. And fun tip, there's a really great ski resort there called Grand Targhee Ski Resort. And if I am still correct, I believe it's the last all-natural snow ski resort in the United States. They do not make any man-made snow.
Targhee's in Jackson, right?
Nope, Targhee's in Driggs.
In Driggs.
So Grand Targhee is right there in Driggs, and it's actually in Alta, Wyoming, but you can't see Alta right there it's right over the Wyoming border, but you can only get to Alta from, do you see Grand Targhee Ski Resort? Go back out, zoom back out. Right to the right.
Oh,
yep. So that's right up in the mountains, right below the Grand Tetons. So it's really a neat place.
It's gorgeous. You can ride the lift.
You can ride the lift up. Some of the best skiing in the world there at Grand Targhee. And Driggs is an easy drive and a really beautiful little town to go see. And you've got 3 little towns that encompass Teton County, Idaho, which borders Teton County, Wyoming, which takes us over the hill to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So Driggs is about an hour and a half from Idaho Falls, and Jackson Hole is about 2 hours from Idaho Falls. So again, now this drive is not like the drive to Salt Lake. It probably shouldn't take us so long, but you're going over a couple mountain passes. So it can be tough in the winter, but in the summer, it's just as beautiful as it possibly can be. And you can fly into Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We've got a great airport in Jackson Hole. And there's 2 big ski resorts in Jackson. You've got Snow King, which is really interesting because it is right in town. You do not have to, most ski resorts, you have to kind of drive out of town and up into the mountain. But Snow King is literally in downtown Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's very, very cool. You can stand at the square in Jackson and look right up the ski hill at Snow King. Now they also have a second ski resort. You've got to get really close into that to see the ski resort inside of Snow King. But anyway, it might not be it. So you've got also Jackson Hole Mountain. So the Jackson Hole Mountain Ski Resort is a little bit further out of town, and but it's really close as well. And 2 unbelievably world-renowned ski resorts right there in Jackson Hole. Again, just a couple of hours from Idaho Falls. Now, Jackson Hole, if we'll slide out, Jackson Hole is kind of the gateway that takes you right up to Yellowstone National Park. So Yellowstone National Park, if you go through Jackson, it takes a little bit longer, but you can just head up north from Idaho Falls through Island Park and get to an entryway into Yellowstone National Park as well. Straight on up, to Island Park. So before I talk about Yellowstone National Park, Island Park. So Island Park is another kind of little gem in Southeast Idaho. That's a beautiful resort area just outside of Yellowstone National Park. It has gorgeous lakes. It's really outdoorsy, great fishing. People come from all over the world to spend their summers, but also to snow machine, as we call in Southeast Idaho. So if you're coming to our area to snow machine, you might say snowmobile, but it's actually, we say snow machine. So it's got some beautiful, Harriman National Park is there, some really beautiful areas for fishing and snow machining and trails and beautiful. And it's right outside of Yellowstone. So if you keep going north, you're going to get right up to West Yellowstone, which is the little teeny town that's the gateway to Yellowstone National Park. Again, just a couple hours outside of Idaho Falls gets you into Yellowstone National Park, where, fun fact about Yellowstone National Park, number 1, the first national park in the United States. And it was the Travel Magazine, I think it was. I shouldn't quote a magazine, but there was a magazine that took a poll of people's bucket lists of where people want to go on their bucket list, and Yellowstone National Park was at the top. And it is the most unbelievable place. Really, really fun, just beautiful. It's on an active volcano. A dormant but active volcano. I don't know if is that an oxymoron by me saying it's a dormant active volcano. It's a dormant live volcano. How about that? A dormant live volcano, and everyone talks about at some point that volcano is going to blow and we're all done.
It's the caldera that people are so scared of.
Yes,
it encompasses a much larger area.
Yeah, it's serious. So you get to see the hot pots, you get to see the geysers, you get to see the wildlife. There are some of the most beautiful lakes up there in Yellowstone and waterfalls.
It's up at 7,000 feet, so it's high elevation.
Yeah, it is really, really neat. Really neat. So Yellowstone National Park is just a couple of hours from Idaho Falls. Now, of course, as you get up there and get to Jackson, it gets a little more expensive. So a lot of people stay in Idaho Falls and in the little towns around that and then drive up to do a one-day trip up into Yellowstone.
Lots of close stuff to us.
Literally, that's close. So the last one we've got that just a little bit is Big Sky. So if you go just a little bit more north, there it is right up there. So that gets you, that's the gateway to Big Sky, Montana, which again, just an amazingly gorgeous place, an amazing place to ski, both summer and winter activities, and Big Sky's about, I think 3.5 hours from us. So again, you can see now why so many people love to come to Southeast Idaho. It is just the most beautiful place, and it's so fun to live here. And if you are outdoorsy and if you love nature and just beautiful scenery, our area, Southeast Idaho, is just the place to come.
And here locally in Idaho Falls, and we live in Ammon.
We do,
And there's lots of outdoor stuff. I go for a hike every day.
Yep, just easy to go right up into the trails. There's lots of reservoirs. It's easy to find somewhere to do anything you might want to do.
Literally 5 to 10 minutes from my house, I can be on a mountain trail.
Yep.
It's incredible.
And if you're not outdoorsy, we also have a lot of great business opportunities. We have just great people. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Our farmers market in Idaho Falls is a really fun place right down by the river. Great restaurants. Speaking of that, we're going to talk about those here in a bit, is some fun things that are coming up in our area that you might just want to check out. All right, let's continue on. Even now that we've talked about our beautiful area of Southeast Idaho, let's talk a little bit about real estate again. I like to give every week a little tip or a trick. So this week, we're going to talk about staging. So this is I don't know if it's a controversy, but I think it's something that a lot of people are divided with in real estate is, do you stage your home if you're going to sell, or does it really matter? So I believe staging your home really does matter, but it doesn't mean that you have to have a professional stager bring furniture into your home. Staging just means what we're going to do to make your house look the most appealing and the most attractive we can to potential buyers. So that means taking what we've got and eliminating things or adding things or moving things around to make it look just really appealing. Our goal when we're selling your house is always going to be to appeal to the most people. They may not have the same style as you. They may not have the same likes as you. So when we're too personal in our homes, it eliminates someone who can't make that emotional connection to your house. You'll find a lot of buyers when they come into a house, they go, "Oh, this just feels like I could live here. It just feels like I could live in this house. I could see myself living here." And sometimes our personal items inside of a house keep someone from feeling that way because they can't move your furniture out and your decor out and move theirs in their mind. They can't see past what's in your house. So these are my staging tips. If you're going to get your house ready to sell, these are the things I tell every one of my sellers to do. Number 1, pack it up and clean it up. You want the best possible return for your money. Spend your time packing up your house and cleaning your house. Packing it up means all of the extra stuff, all the things that you don't need to live day to day, things that are personal, things that are that you have just around your house that maybe you've kept over the years because you like to look at them. Pack it up.
You're going to be as minimal as possible.
Minimal. Exactly right.
As a real estate videographer, it makes it the video just looks so much better when the house has been at least minimized, even if it's not staged, but just minimized, pictures off the wall, counters decluttered, that sort of thing. It makes a huge difference. And that's something that we learned from Holly
Cook, who is a professional stager. Exactly right.
Professional stager. Learned tons of things from Holly Cook.
Packing up, think about this. You're going to move anyway. There's two things that happen when you pack up. Number 1, your pictures and your video look better. Think of it as you want to take your house and you want to make it look a little bit more like a hotel room. When you go into a hotel room, there's one picture on the wall. there's one little piece of decor on a shelf.
Very minimal.
Very minimal. When it comes down to it, one thing, right? So pack it up. You're going to move anyway.
Yeah.
Start getting it packed up. Spend the extra week of packing. It also helps you emotionally. Start to let go of your house. It no longer feels like your house anymore. You've packed it up, and now it's almost like it's somebody else's house. It's a cathartic thing to do, to pack it up and then clean it up. I'll tell you what, you want to sell your house, have it clean. And clean it more than you think it needs to be cleaned. You want the corners, you want the crevices, you want the things that you don't normally do, and you want to get those. You will find out it will sell your house. People they feel a house is better taken care of and is in better shape when it's just cleaner. So if you wanted to invest in something, invest in a professional cleaner to get the nooks, the crannies, the baseboards, the windows, clean it up. You'll find a huge return on that on price when the buyer comes to make an offer. Number 2, remove your stuff, right? Remove all but one picture on a wall. Don't have a barrage of pictures and decor on a wall.
But what if you do if there's a lot of holes?
I want you to fix the holes. I'd rather you fix the holes and have one picture.
Okay.
Yep. Or no pictures, because your walls look bigger when there's no pictures at all. No one really needs to see your pictures. But if you do want to have a picture, have one picture on a wall and make sure it's the right size. If you've got a big wall, it can't be a little picture. If you have a little wall, it can't be a huge poster size picture. So, and if you don't, when in doubt, take it off. When in doubt, pack it up.
Pack it up.
Pack it up. And always pack up any pictures that are religious, that are political, or that are family pictures.
Yeah.
Because those are preferences of yours that may detract from someone else finding an emotional attachment to your house.
Get the trophies off the wall, maybe.
And that's probably a good idea. Trophies in your bowling trophies, but also your animal trophies.
Yeah.
We want to pack up any taxidermy. There are people that just don't have the same opinions and feelings about hunting.
Just don't have the same taste.
You want to just pack them up. Pack them up and make sure everyone has the opportunity to feel good in your home for whatever they're, because you're not going to live there anymore.
But you
don't have to live with them.
There are some people that would argue that, maybe, if it's a home that sort of has that
cabiny
trophy
feel,
hunter cabiny vibe, then maybe that's the sort of person that's going to appreciate those.
And I agree with that. And that makes perfect sense if you think of a cabin as a hunting cabin.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think of a cabin as that quiet in the mountains with the crackling fire, cozy games with your family, you may not think of it as a hunting type of cabin. So cabin.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I love that. And that's I appreciate that, because that is how we feel. And so you say, well, what doesn't this fits the decor of? Well, as long as that, once again, it's your personal preference. So get everything that was your personal preference and pack it up and clean it up. Number 3, just declutter and remove decor. If you think if you like it and you say, but it looks good, just remember it looks good to you. And this is some of the hardest things you have to say as a realtor is I say, I know it's amazing, but not everybody likes that. Not everybody likes fake flowers. Not everyone likes ivy. Not everyone likes the Instagram, kitschy things. When there's a lot of things, we've got to get them out.
Now, this is going to go against what I said earlier, that I think that the minimal and all that, the house shows better.
Uh-huh.
But we've had a couple of listings that I've really enjoyed the little knickknacks. The sellers that didn't want to take them down, or they were too stressed or didn't work out, and they left them out. I really enjoyed. The
problem that we run into is most sellers can't draw the line. And when you take a picture in person, it looks great. In person, when you go in and someone could be a Pinterest house, looks great. But when you look through this much of a size, and it's not an entire room, that's a lot of stuff in one photo.
Yeah.
And even though in person, it doesn't feel overwhelming, during that photo, and you're only looking through that much, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, remove the decor. If there's a shelf, you get one item. If there's a wall, you get one picture. And if you have those shelves in the upper areas, clean them off. Clean them off. You're going to think your home looks boring, but hotel rooms look boring, right? But what it is everyone just feels as though they can see themselves in there and they can put their stuff in.
Yeah.
You're not there to show them your stuff. Pack it up and clean it up. Okay, here we go. Clear off your countertops, bathrooms and kitchens.
For sure.
Everything put away. You don't want, but what about this little, clear them off. because people want to see how big those countertops are. And the more things you have on there, the smaller your countertops look. And they're not getting any of that stuff. They're not buying any of those little decor, any of those little things. Get it off, especially your little jars of soap, because you just tuck them under the sink. You don't need to see that red container of soap you got at Walmart on the sink. Tuck everything underneath.
Well, and as a videographer, and then I know that when our photographers go in, like we spend a lot of time just tucking things away.
Tucking things
it's really
away.
important. Get it out there.
You don't even notice it. That's what's interesting. You get all your stuff off. You don't even notice the soap container. You don't even notice the thing of the holder of the toothbrushes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't notice the tissue box because you've taken so much other stuff off.
Well, when you're living with it, you're used to it.
Yeah.
So you don't think
it's functional.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we need it for pictures and video. Take it all off. Also, you're going to find out it's not as clean as you thought it was when you get everything off.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not as clean as you thought. So everything off, kitchens and bathrooms. And I will tell you, it feels more well-maintained the cleaner it is. A bathroom, there are people that'll just go, "Ooh, we're going to bathroom." But if it's clean, they go, "Oh, I would love to buy this house." And they walk into someone else's who isn't as clean. They will think of yours first.
Yeah.
Yep.
A clean bathroom speaks volumes.
It does. No towels, no mats. This I get a lot of. I don't want any decorative towels. I don't want any colored towels. I don't want any towels at all in the bathrooms.
And I disagree with that. Just not on one level. I think that if you had some nice clean white towels or a neutral colored towel, that they make a bathroom feel like a bathroom.
It can.
And I like that personally. So
the drawback is the buyers. If you walk through houses with buyers and you hear enough, ooh, I wonder who wiped their hands on that. Ooh, it just feels dirtier. Yep. Don't even give them that. Don't even give them that opportunity. Pack it up. Nobody wants the mat that's around the toilet. They don't want anything to do with that. They don't want it. Just put it all away.
I do agree with that. But I think that like a neutral, clean, towels that look like they've been washed or clean.
But they've got to be perfectly hung. They've got to be. It's just hard.
I like that.
Yeah. I just like it to look cleaner. The more you have, the cleaner it looks. So again, bath mats.
And this just goes to show that everybody has a different
opinion.
But generally speaking, just to kind of come back to the talking point, I think that it is better to minimize. Generally speaking, the video is going to look better. When
in doubt, pack it up.
I personally, for the last few homes that we've filmed where the towels have been gone, I haven't really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I've wanted towels to be in there.
Yeah. If they were perfect, but that's if they were perfect.
Exactly. They do.
Most people do not have perfect towels.
When you're getting the house ready,
right?
A lot of our sellers will have the perfect looking towels in there.
Well, Tommy hasn't gone in enough houses before I've been there. No, it's again, when in doubt, cut it out.
Yeah.
When in doubt, pack it up. So next, touch up the paint and touch up the holes. If you'll find out it just feels like there's less that they have to do. When someone looks to pay for your house, they're thinking of all the extra cost that's going to come. So touch up your paint, patch up your holes.
And this goes back to the holes in the wall from the pictures.
Yep. A little bit of toothpaste in that hole will fill it right up, and a little bit of paint over the top.
But is that the right way of doing it? The problem that I have is that it's I
have a detail-oriented husband who said, "But is that the right way?"
It's very off-putting for me when I go in and they've gotten everything cleaned up and they've patched or obviously painted areas of the wall that doesn't match what's already been there.
It's true.
That's very off-putting.
Yeah. So do less bigger patches. If but make sure you match the sheen.
And sometimes
try to match the color. It's just the way it is. I'll tell you, they would rather see that you've patched it and had a smaller patch with the paint than have a hole.
And sometimes I will admit that when you're in the house, when you're looking at it, it's not as noticeable, but the camera sort of brings everything out. Yeah, and so it's more noticeable from the perspective of the camera.
Yep, it does. So, but I would rather see that than a hole.
Yes, absolutely.
So pack it up. Yeah. Pack it up makes it really good.
It's just you made me nervous with the toothpaste comment.
I know. You fill the hole with toothpaste. If you don't have filler, you fill it. You don't paint it with the toothpaste.
Or you could go to Home Depot.
You could.
And get hole filler.
Listen, some of us just do what we got to do. Do what we got to do. Okay, remove children's items. So this is an interesting thing that was a lot of sellers don't realize is you've got a bedroom, especially a smaller bedroom, and if it has a lot of children's items, It feels like a children's room. And if people don't have children, they make it think that this is a small bedroom. So minimize the children's items, especially if you got big pink walls, big orange walls, minimize them. Pack your toys up, put them in the closet. Get down to minimal amount. Don't decorate it as a child room. You can, but this is just my tip.
Well, but what about people that are living?
Yeah, I'm just saying, just don't. Again, it's pack it up. Pack it up and take it down. Don't say, hey, I'm going to decorate this as a children's room. But if you can take it out, I would.
Okay.
And I would get back to more neutral colors instead of kids' bright colors and bright walls. Yep.
And again, we're talking about suggestions.
These are all suggestions.
This is the best of, but if you're in a situation like many of our sellers are, where they're living with infants and toddlers and things like that, they're doing the best that they can do. You just do the best that you can.
You just do. Yeah. This isn't, you're not going to sell your house if you don't do this. These are just my tips. If you're like, what should I do?
It can help. And sometimes if maybe your showings aren't going as well as they could be, that's something that.
So when someone says that, is they say, well, if things don't go well, then I'll work on it. What if you missed the buyer that paid the most? Mm-hmm. That's why, again, if we can do it, taking the extra time, putting it on the market quickly and not taking your extra time, you will sell faster by taking the time up front and putting it on the market when it's ready.
Yeah.
Use neutral color paint. If you can, repaint and paint in neutral colors.
Come on.
I know I like
those dark
bold
burgundy walls.
Yes. And the accent wall that they've got, use neutral paint. And this is your biggest reason why. If you have no problem and you're like, painting is easy, the next person pays someone to paint. And so your house just got more expensive for them. Yeah. So just remember, neutral paint means that they can choose. Number one, again, if they don't like your color, if that's not their style. You
probably have furniture and decorations that go along with that. So
you're happy with that. Yep. Neutral paint will help someone not, number one, see what
this
more
is
work.
When you're getting ready to sell.
This
not
is staging.
like you live the way that you're going to live, but if you're coming to sell, this might be something to take into consideration.
Attract the most possible buyers.
Yes.
The most possible buyers. Exactly right. And show off those floors. So this is an interesting staging tip that a lot of people don't know, is when you want to look for really great in pictures, you want to show as much floor from the vantage point of the door as possible. So if you have a bed in the middle, your room looks smaller. So you might want to get your bed over into the corner. You wouldn't want to live like that. It looks a little funny if you're in the room.
Kitchen table.
You want to show as much floor as possible. Yeah. So when you think about from the inside of the door and looking out the window, you want the most floor as possible. That will help your room in pictures.
Or another way of saying that would be to open up the room.
Open up the room, yeah.
Yeah, well,
you just don't look at it as an aesthetic of how you'd want it to look while you're in the room.
Yeah.
Like if I'm living here, it's off-centered. We don't ever shoot a wall straight on. We don't ever shoot, so you don't have to worry about those the centers. Give as much floor when you're standing at the door of a room. Look into the room and show the most floor possible. Yep, most floor possible. Show off those floors. And when they're let in the light, wash your windows. People don't like drapes. Drapes are out. So when in doubt, get those drapes down. They probably don't want them anyway. If you have blinds, great, but remove drapes and wash your windows. It makes a big difference to be able to look out those windows. Most everybody looks out the windows of every room. So I'm washing your windows.
And we know a great guy that can wash your windows.
We do know a great guy.
He comes and cleans our windows.
If you haven't ever had your windows professionally cleaned in Southeast Idaho with our hard water, it's amazing. To look out your windows after they've been professionally cleaned.
And you don't realize how dirty they are from all the water stains until they get cleaned. And then I remember the first time that when Tanner came to clean our windows.
It's Pain Relief is the company we like.
Pain Relief. They do an amazing job. I don't know. He gets it off.
Yeah. He gets the hard water off. He gets all.
And it looks absolutely incredible.
You want to open your blinds and your curtains all the time.
Yeah. Like at sunrise, depending on the part of the room, sunrise, sunset. And like when it's so beautiful looking out of clean windows. And I never would have appreciated it.
Yep. It's amazing. Yep. Let the light in. Let those, open those windows. Okay. Let's talk about a few events that are happening in Southeast Idaho this week, Memorial Day week. Through Memorial Day, which is tomorrow, Field of Honor, not tomorrow, Monday, Field of Honor at Freeman Park. Freeman Park is a really great park, and they do 1,000 American flags. And it's really fun to see. It's really beautiful, and it's a great tribute to those we have lost, and so in Freeman Park. Also, on June 1st, the 29th annual Mountain Brewers Beer Fest at Sandy Downs. Super fun. if you want to have really great at time, get out there to the Brewers Fest at Sandy Downs. Also, our fun summer activity that happens in downtown Idaho Falls at Civitan Plaza is what's called a Live After 5. A Live After 5 is once a week. They have bands, they have food, they have drinks in the Civitan Plaza, which is right in downtown. It is so fun and so beautiful. So it's really fun. They have the kickoff this week. Also, guess what? Yellowstone National Park opened up this week. So we did have snow. The week that Yellowstone National Park opened up, they had some snow up there and a few roads were closed, but it's now officially time to open up and get up there to Yellowstone National Park. Also in Jackson Hole, they're doing the $1 Million Music Festival, which is really fun. I think that's tomorrow. And so it's a free concert in the Jackson Hole Square. I think Trace Atkins might be there. So it's kind of a neat place, but it's free to the public. And this week, Snow King, you can ride the gondola up to Snow King and look over the gorgeous Jackson Valley out to Yellowstone National Park. Really, really, really beautiful and a fun way to go up take the gondola up to the top.
So is this that $1 Million?
Yeah, $1 Million Fest. Yep, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. There it is. And it's sponsored by the $1 Million Cowboy Bar, the world famous $1 Million Cowboy Bar, which is a really fun and historic place to go and see. All right. So that's what's going on this week. Lastly, I want to show you who we visited this week as Nosy Neighbors.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. So Snakebite Restaurant is an iconic local favorite restaurant, locally owned the past 22 years by the Thulians, who have done just an amazing job. The food is out of this world, and they sold at the end of last year to some new owners who are passionate about downtown Idaho Falls, and they have moved us over into the Oddfellows building, which is it's right across the street.
So amazing, just open,
beautiful,
completely new look. But they maintained they wanted to tie in the original colors. They've got
all the decor is there.
The decor,
and what really is the most important thing is all the food is still there. Everything you got at the Snakebite before is still there, and they're expanding. So my suggestion is you get the black and blue burger. It's unbelievable.
I think we're going to go get one right now.
We might go get one right now. Tommy loves the shrimp tacos.
Shrimp tacos are amazing.
I love the portobello mushroom burger. I mean, you just can't. There's pretty much the
black
salad.
And blue steak is great. The salads are great.
Salads are great. It's all great.
But be sure to watch the video. The link for that video is in the description.
Yep.
So be sure to click the link below.
Yep. If you want to see a whole tour, it's all there. We talked to the owners, and the manager, and amazing.
A lot of fun. Great people.
100 Proof Foundation, or the 100 Proof Company.
100 Proof Hospitality.
That's the way to do it.
And
they are doing a lot of amazing things.
They're doing a lot of really cool things. And when they were talking, so not just the Snakebite, but the 18.
Which
is the
Speakeasy Lounge that is below the Snakebite. So, and it's an adult gathering place, but it's not a bar necessarily, because they have
bar.
Well, I mean, but it's not like it's only a bar.
They've got a full bar right there.
They have a full bar, but they have mocktails, they have food, they have a smoking lounge.
It's a bar that's set up to accommodate
everybody. They have rooms that you can rent if you want to have a gathering, a cigar lounge. That has a membership to it if you want to have a membership to the cigar lounge.
Upscale.
And just so Great Gatsby, that Prohibition era down below, but just
and Kenny's
ambiance.
The one we didn't really.
It's amazing.
Kenny showed up at the end of the video. Just be sure to watch the video.
Yeah,
the video
it's awesome.
is amazing. Yeah.
It is unbelievably beautiful. And Snakebite now has a takeout window. And so a lot of people order takeout from Snakebite, and now there's a special entrance so you don't have to go through the restaurant. Yeah. But I mean, I'll tell you guys, Snakebite Restaurant is amazing, and you will not be disappointed that between the ambiance, the food, the drinks, and the service, it's fantastic.
And I think on the weekends they've got the cafe lights out.
Oh yeah, it's going downtown is amazing.
The whole feel of it is incredible.
Yeah,
it's an incredible. It's an experience. I would say
it is. And icon in a beautifully iconic building in downtown. So go check it out. The Snakebite Restaurant and 18 XVII. Oh, I have one. I'm just realizing it. That's 17. It's actually 18. I'm missing one I. So sorry about that. Whoever's watching this.
The 18.
And Joe, so it is 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there's our week roundup. Here from the Cardins. I'm Jessica Cardin, your nosy neighbor. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel below. Follow us on the socials. If you have any questions, let me know. And write down below each month, if you'd like to get the newsletter, you just go to jessica.viewidahofallshouses.com. Up at the top, you get the newsletter, or you hit /newsletter. All right. one more week down. We will see you next weekend to tell you all about what's going on in Southeast Idaho. This is Jessica Carden, your Knowsy